Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be sketching Morbius, and I'm going to be using big pen, white paper, and from last week you guys said you liked watching me sketch, so I'm going to try and do a few more of these videos. This is going to be pretty quick. I'm filming it real time, and I'm going to try and talk while I'm sketching, which is always interesting. Yeah, so let's just get right into it. First thing I'm going to do is kind of just get my head placement for this. And I did some warm-up sketches that I will put at the end of this video so you can kind of watch those as well. And I'm really loose. This is a sketchbook. I'm not trying to be perfect. I am using big pen, so there is no erasing. So whatever you guys see me do, I'm gonna have to figure out how to make it work without erasing. And I'm just kind of, fleshing things out. My Morbius is gonna be a bit different than the movies and the comic book. I always like to do my own take, obviously still holding true to the essence of the character, which is like a vampire type character. So we'll put the fangs in there real quick. One thing I'm not a big fan of on Morbius is his nose. And I understand, like, you want him to look different than Dracula, right? You don't want to have like just this cookie cutter vampire that they all kind of look the same, but the nose can sometimes look like a pig nose. So I'm going to do my best to make this not look like a pig nose. And one of the things that they do, and that I've seen in the comics, is they put his nose really high up in between his eyes, and I think it's to make it look more like a bat, which I totally get, totally understand that, and that's kind of like the creative aspect of him. And like I said, I like that, but I'm gonna give him a little bit bigger ears than I think he has, but we'll see. And I'm also not giving him the middle part. I did the middle part in junior high, and ever since then I can't handle it. It's not my favorite look. We'll have him kind of crouched over like a night creature a little bit. Maybe an arm coming out here in the foreground. And you guys can see like how loose I'm being. And sketching, this is a lot of times I say be more loose, is one of the things I wish I had learned earlier in life. And this is what I'm talking about. And I mentioned it in other videos as well, where instead of being super deliberate with your lines, you're more like just feeling out, what it is you want your character to look like on the paper. And here's a really tricky part, because I'm really trying not to make this a pig nose. I want him to look cool, badass. I don't want to take away from his scariness by giving him something that I think is kind of a funny look, I guess. Which I kind of like what I've got so far as the initial sketch. So I like where everything's at. If I didn't, I would just live with it, but I am liking the way this one's looking. So that's a good thing. We'll see if he looks badass or scary enough when it's all said and done, though, because you want Morbius to be more like a monster than a human. I feel like that's his kind of niche in the comic book world, is, he doesn't look all pretty. He is kind of somebody who's in between being a bad guy and a good guy. So an anti-hero. But his forearm, so his elbow's right here. We're gonna have his forearm kind of coming out like this. Put his hand up in a very so I like that. Maybe like he just got spotted is kind of what he looks like right here. We'll give him a long collar that kind of comes out right here. So he's a little bit like the character. Obviously I'm not going to give him the whole character outfit because that outfit's pretty flamboyant for the character I'm kind of drawing here, or the idea I guess I have. I'm somebody who doesn't need movie characters to have the same outfits that they do in comics. Like I know a lot of people really like that and that's their thing, and I understand that completely. You want your comic book characters to come to life on the screen like you imagine them in the comics. But to me, comics and movies are very different things, and I've always had a problem when they try and do comics and movies and they just look silly. Because one thing I don't want my characters to be is silly. If I'm trying to make something scary. So he has all red eyes, so I have to keep that kind of in mind. I want his eyes to kind of have a red glow to really capture that character. And I'll add little blemishes and stuff on the skin with this red pen. I like doing all my smaller work with the red pen because, you know, all the blemishes that are on the out, I know the red is going to be it's going to be pushed back once I add markers and stuff, which I will be adding markers on this. So, his waist come down right here. This is real time, so you guys get to see what it's like to actually kind of sit here and work with me. So arms coming out like that. I might not do too much detail on the body. I think I might just focus on the head just to keep things a little bit more focused. So, and sometimes I just, once I get the sketch down, I kind of just take a step back, look at it for a second, see if I want to change anything. He's got a really long neck right now, which is fine. I don't really mind that too much. I want him to have crazy hair that's kind of flipping around in the wind. This ear sticks up too high, but I can easily change that without erasing it. I'll just leave that. A lot of times when I'm drawing for fun and something like that happens where I'm like, I don't like that ear placement over there, and I can't erase it, I just leave it. It doesn't bother me. I'm not trying to produce the greatest artwork in the entire world right now, so letting little things like that bother me, I just don't let it, and then I move on. So okay, so sketch is all right. Let's see where we can take this. Next step, I'm gonna take let's find a good shadow color. He's got white skin. That might be a little too, I don't know. Let's go for it, whatever. So what I was worried about with this being a little too dark, but I don't care, I'm just gonna do it. And that is really dark. Had something in my throat. So this is my shadow layer. This is pretty dark shadow. Normally I don't use shadows this dark. And the reason I use this is because I couldn't find my other pen. So yeah. But you know, sometimes things like this where you're like, I didn't really want it to be that dark, but switching things up every now and again is how you discover new techniques, new processes, and sometimes you end up liking it better than what you'd normally do. And the reason I didn't really mind so much on going darker is because sometimes I do feel like I do need to go darker. And I don't push myself dark enough sometimes. So what I'm doing right here is I'm thinking about where the light is hitting him. I've kind of talked about this before, but I'm having the light come in from this direction. And so knowing the facial structure, the jawline recedes back to the ear. Obviously, you kind of think about it for a second, you realize that. So this is all going to be in shadow. Basically, you're thinking about where the skull is, and yeah, so you can kind of see it as a round object. Do some of this hair. In shadow. One nice thing about Morbius is he does have white skin. I'm not really 100% sure how I'm going to handle that. He does have black hair, and black hair is always interesting, like how people draw that in comics and stuff, because, you know, making black hair, I don't like to make things black. I like color instead. So like purples, if it's a black color, I'll use purples, and I just like the way that looks better generally. And so this is just, I'm not coloring, I'm shadowing. So this is my shadow layer, and I'm not super worried about getting it absolutely perfect. I'm just kind of blocking in colors or shadows right now, and just focusing on what wouldn't be in the light. So that big line right there, I know this whole under part of his arm is kind of going to be in shadow. And then also his pelvic area down here, as it kind of wraps around his body. You've got like a main muscle right here, the one on your side. Where things get a little bit, I'll do less shadows on top of things, even though he's probably, his body up here, because this is another way to think about shadows as well, is probably blocking light that makes it to his legs. And another cool thing to do when you're doing shadows is, say you don't want to do a lot of detail in an area. Say I'm like, you know what, I don't want to draw all the details in the leg. I want to just, you know, spend less time on this and focus on him. Then you can just do the whole lower half of him in shadow. So he is, and that'll draw the attention to the upper part of the main focus of the drawing, which is going to be his head. And so now I don't have to really do a whole lot of detail down here. It kind of fades out. So that's something that can save you time and allow you to focus on what you want to focus on. So I'm going to fill in this whole thing right here in shadow as well, part of his outfit. And even though I know this is going to be red, now the interesting part of that is I'm still going to fill that in with red. So it'll be kind of, you have to kind of think about like what this particular color, which is R914, and it's an R-to-5 marker, is going to do to the red when I go over the top of that. And that's just kind of fun experimentation. Okay, so got it kind of laid out here. Sometimes I will do some line shading, cross hatching and stuff like that with the red pen. This bleeds into the markers a little bit if you do markers over the top of it, so that's something to keep in mind. So sometimes, you know, depends on how I'm approaching the drawing, if I care, but for this drawing, I'm gonna do this after, and I'll probably actually use some purple Bic pen as well to do that. But let's see what a red kind of looks like on top of that blue, just real quick. So I know he's got like these red outfit, it kind of goes down the center of him too. which it kind of looks cool. You can see how a little bit of the red shows at the bottom, and it almost looks like just light hits that. I didn't mean to not color that, but I like it like that. So, and I'm gonna do his eyes completely red. So let's go that direction, which those are very glowy. I need another, like a lighter color. Let's see. Oh, I want something that I can do his skin color with. Let's see, how's this one look? A little bit lighter than that one. This one will work just fine. And this will really make that white skin pop. Yeah, that'll be perfect. So kind of extending where I have shadows with this, just to give the skin some dimension. Where the curls are, his eyebrows, bone structure, just go over the top of that. You can see how the red Bic pen bleeds a little bit, which I totally don't mind. It just, for me, stuff like that just adds kind of cool flavor to the drawing. Hair is probably blocking out more shadow than I let it, but I'll deal with that with this pen. And I'll add little details with this as well, similar to the red. Just add a little bit of texture to the skin. Let's see kind of how that looks. Yeah, not bad. I haven't even talked about the movie, about the Morbius movie. I liked Morbius. He was kind of a cool character. I think a lot of people liked him for the same reason they like a lot of the anti-heroes, is he's just kind of, like Batman, I've always had a problem with because he doesn't kill the bad guys. And that's a whole philosophical just dilemma I have with some of the characters. And Morbius doesn't have a problem with that. Same with Punisher and characters like him. So he was always somebody that I liked because of that reason. So what I'm doing right here is I'm taking my purple Bic pen and I am just doing some more like outlines and design lines that are going to really define the shapes a lot more clearly. You can already kind of see in the face. And this drawing really has a kind of watercolor look to it, which is pretty cool. The reason I didn't do the hair yet is because I'm scared to do the hair. The hair is going to be, if I choose too dark of a color, I'll lose all my shadows, which isn't the end of the world, but when you go really dark, anytime you have a dark, something really dark that you have to do, it's always intimidating. And that I don't think ever goes away because you're stuck. I mean, I have like jelly roller pen, which I'll use, but nice. So right here, I'll also use this. This is where I really like to use the line shading and cross hatching and things like that, is with the purple. It's going to add texture and a really interesting texture too. Hopefully you guys can kind of see that. Maybe I'll zoom in when I'm done. But adding that texture to the markers just adds a little something to the drawing, gives it, like I said earlier, like a little bit of flavor. And I always really like the way that looks. It's just something stylistically that I choose to do. Instead of doing it super clean. So obviously I'm gonna darken in behind his teeth, but definitely see how the red like shows through, and I don't worry about cleaning it all up. I like that because it's like especially with him, he drinks blood. So having that red kind of show through is like, maybe it's blood sitting back there, like just kind of saturating his mouth. Okay, what do you guys think? Should I do the dark now? The dark hair, and just see what that does? Got to do it eventually. So let's give it a shot. Let's look at my colors for a second. Let's pull out some, ooh, this one might be a good purple. R823. I do have a color sheet right here, which is actually a better thing to look at. So R916, R839. I think I'm gonna go with this one, R839. So do I have that one over here somewhere? R823. R823 is right there. I think that's gonna be too purple. So R839. I don't have all my colors in here. Hopefully I have that one somewhere. R839. R946. Now let's go with R946. Boom, that one right there. Okay. I couldn't find the color I had fast enough, so I'm lazy. Let's see what it does. Eesh. It's dark, but it's not black. And it's nice. And I'm just trying to flow with the markers here, so I can keep those nice swirls and stuff like that going. Which I'm liking the way that's looking so far. Kind of swoops around this. Caught up in the wind back here. Obviously, I'm not drawing individual strands. I'm drawing blocks of hair. I might do highlights and stuff with the Jelly Roller pen in a minute. So I can go back over the top of this and add in some of the white if I don't get it quite right, which maybe a little bit longer hair. Some pieces that kind of come out over there. I'm debating on having, yeah, let's do it. I was gonna say a couple pieces like in front of his face. Not bad. Well, I like that. That turned out pretty good. That's good color. So I'm going to take that other color, so all these little white spots, I'm gonna go back over those with that shadow color. Because obviously, oh damn, that's not the right one. This one. Because I don't think you would have bright white on hair like that, so we'll just fill that in. Now I lost a lot of the shadows that I had originally put in there, which I don't really care that much about, it's fine. And then, so I added this right here. So let's add a little shadow on the outside of that. And then some shadow on this one, like that. And the hair looks like it kind of comes in front of his face. Let's give him some blood, a little bit of blood. And I'm gonna go straight with the marker on this one. That's kind of cool. Okay, and let's take a darker red, go around those eyes a little bit. Just to make them look like they're glowing a little bit more. Not bad. And then let's see, Jelly Roller Pen. Let's go Jelly Roller Pen and see what we can't do with some highlights on this guy. And we can also use this to knock out any red lines that we might not like. There's not really any that are bothering me too much. So I don't really need to, but like I could do it up in here. I can also make his hair block that out. So that's another thing. So when I'm drawing like this, I'm just gonna extend the hair up here, and now I fix those ear lines that I had. I just made his hair bigger, which I actually like better because it looked like he had kind of like a bun or something in there. I might even go a little bit. So he's got like a full-on mane now. Cool. Okay. Where's my? Let's make this shadow under here. A little bit of light hitting his ear. Pretty sweet. Okay, so now I'm going to finish him off. I'm gonna kind of keep some of the things similar to the character. He has these like an outfit with forearm sleeves, and then his suit is just a bodysuit. Maybe I'll give him, like, you can really see his spine. That's kind of cool. So again, we come up to a dilemma where he has a very dark suit. Again, I don't want to go black. I could just match the color of his hair. I could just give him a red suit and just totally change the design. I think I'm going to give this a little red through here. That'll really help that pop. So let's see what that looks like. I'm gonna give him some more of these because I want to break up the character. Let's try, oh, I got it, like stripes that kind of go down his back maybe. We'll come over it'll go over his arm and onto his back. We'll do like maybe Wolverine like style, but vertical instead of horizontal. So he does have a superhero suit on. Kind of like vertical claw marks that go down his back maybe. kind of make it part of this. That'd be kind of cool. Let's fill them in. You can always, if I don't like them, I can always go over with a dark color. Ooh, that's the darker red, dang it. Not bad. That looks all right. Could give him a white outfit. Ugh. What do I do? What do I do? You guys are right here experimenting with me, so I'm gonna go same color as the hair, and then I can always go darker if I want to. So a lot of ink too. Generally when I'm sketching in my sketchbook, I don't like to use like this much ink. We'll do some really big highlights though on him. That way we can save ink and we can break up that black a little bit. I didn't really intend to spend this much time on this drawing, but I'm having so much fun that I'm just gonna keep doing it. So his arm is gonna be interesting. Now I can always go back through, and I'm actually kind of curious as to how well the Jelly Roller pen is gonna do. Man, I like the idea of doing actually more of a bandage type suit on him. I think that would be cool. And I decided that right after I did those those lines across his arm. I'm like, that would be kind of cool. Instead of a latex style suit. I didn't plan on doing full color either. Like I said, this one kind of took on a life of its own for me. These are kind of like, almost like muscle fibers going across his leg here. And obviously with markers you can always, you know, add layers to make darker areas on them and stuff. Kind of looks like Michael Jackson a little bit. Okay. Let's fill some of these in. I actually don't work on white paper super often. And so right now I'm really just kind of figuring stuff out a little bit with this one. I'll be switching back to my tone tan pretty soon, but I'm just gonna finish off this sketchbook. Got a bunch of new sketches that I'll have out probably next week for a sketchbook tour. I know you guys like those. I love doing them. That works really good as far as shadows go right through there. And big long fingernails would be cool. Let's try this jelly roller pen out real quick. See if we can add some cool kind of shines to them. I'll highlight the back side of this arm. Also like adding little bits of texture with the jelly roller pen. Always looks kind of cool. Add some hair highlights in there. It's kind of cool. It kind of needs a belt or something. So let's see here. What can I do? Just go right on here with this. So this is a bit darker. I'm gonna redo my shadows with this pen that I had before. That's why you don't go super dark right off the bat, because this is gonna probably save this for me. And I can add in all those details that I lost with this. I'm gonna go over some of the hair that I lost shadows on. That's one awesome thing about markers, is layering the colors. You can get pretty rich. Again, not getting too tight with stuff. Staying loose even when I do the markers is something I always strive for, because if anything, I tend to get way too tight if I don't watch myself. I think it's when I get apprehensive about what I'm doing, I'll get a little bit tighter. Some texture to his outfit a little bit. So this video is going super long. Sorry about that. If you're bored, I guess you can always just turn it off. I feel like I should flesh out that hand a little. Well guys, that's the video. As you can see, I did his hand covered in blood, and I filmed this, but apparently my phone stopped filming right where it cut off for you guys. But I really liked the pop of color that added. It really balanced out all this dark, the dark side of the drawing over here. So it brings your eye back to the front, which is great. Pretty happy with the way this one turned out. I hope you guys like this video. You know, I haven't done any like this in a long time, so been doing the sketchbook tours, which next week should be another sketchbook tour. But tell me what you thought of this, if you liked it, if you want it time-lapse instead of real-time. I know a lot of you prefer real-time, but some people like time-lapse, so I might upload a time-lapse version of this one as well. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you later.